I certainly don't think serving 10 years in jail is a slap on the wrist. I think that's certainly a significant sentence. I also understand certainly the concern some individuals have with the fact that there were a number of victims involved in this particular case. But I think also I have to consider from the victim's perspective, especially the victims in the state of Louisiana. Look, these women have been through a lot, and to have to put them through the trial means they have to go through a whole lot more. I'm not sure anyone who is ever the victim of a sexual assault ever gets over it at any time during the course of her life. And to have that individual relive it sort of reopens the wound, and sort of it again it's a very harmful thing to her. Psychologically and to some extent even physically. So if we could avoid the possibility of having a victim go through this and we get what we believe is a meaningful sentence from the defendant, then in many cases I'm going to look to do that, because I'm not interested in hurting the victim again.
Were you at all reluctant to join in this global deal, or is it something that you looked at and decided that for the victims, for the state of Louisiana, this was the best thing to do?
Well, there are two considerations. First consideration was the victims. We did have an opportunity to speak with the victims, and before we did anything, we certainly wanted them to know what were the consequences, that as a result of his pleading guilty, would you be satisfied? Were you accepting? Did the sentence, did you agree with the sentence? We had that conversation with the victims. The victims were on board. If they were not, as I explained to them, look, ultimately I have to make the decision. But I wanted to make sure that the victims were in agreement with what we were doing. Look, these women had to go through a great deal. It took a great deal of courage, in my opinion, for them to come forward and to stand tall throughout this process. They did. So the very least we could do for them was to make sure that they were in agreement with the arrangements. They were, and if they had not been, this would not have been as easy to sort of effectuate as it was.